Holy goes.
Please pray for me.
We'll have your freedom.
It's hard to die.
Under the old laws, only one can survive.
Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
From the moment the world first heard whispers about John Wick Chapter 4, the excitement built like an approaching storm, because every time this character returns, he brings with him a mixture of relentless action, emotional depth, and a sense of unfinished business that refuses to die. The energy surrounding this chapter feels different, heavier, almost as if Wick himself is carrying the weight of every battle he's survived. The story builds on the idea that a man who has lost everything is capable of rising even from the darkest chaos, fueled not by revenge alone, but by the desire for freedom that has been denied to him for far too long. The intensity begins from the very first scene where Wick is shown preparing for a war he knows might be his last, sharpening both his weapons and his resolve with the same brutal precision that defines his existence. The world around him has changed. Alliances are broken, old friends have turned silent, and enemies have grown stronger. The sense of betrayal hangs heavy in the air, and Wick feels the walls closing in as the global network of assassins tightens its grip. What pushes him forward is not hope but determination so fierce that even the shadows seem to step aside when he walks. This chapter explores the idea that Wick is no longer just a man. He has become a legend shaped out of violence, pain, and endurance. Every corner of the world he steps into trembles with the knowledge of what he's capable of. The story deepens by showing how the consequences of past decisions begin resurfacing, forcing Wick to confront ghosts he tried to forget. As the journey unfolds, Wick travels across cities where danger hides in every alley and every handshake may become a betrayal. The environments feel larger and more dangerous than ever, abandoned temples lit by flickering torches, neon-soaked streets echoing with footsteps, and underground arenas where killers watch him with cold, calculating eyes. These places act like characters themselves, shaping the emotions and tensions surrounding every encounter. The visuals in this imagined narrative highlight the contrast between elegance and brutality, showing Wick moving through luxurious halls moments before turning them into battlegrounds filled with shattered glass and fire. One of the strongest emotional threads woven into this story is Wick's growing realization that survival comes at a cost heavier than bullets. While he continues to fight, his body carries the marks of every blow, every crash, and every night spent bleeding in the dark. The film leans into his humanity, showing him struggling to stand but refusing to fall. His quiet moments where he sits alone, bandaging his wounds or staring at the faint memory of the life he once had create a powerful contrast with the explosive chaos that surrounds him. These scenes remind viewers that beneath the sharp precision and unmatched skills lies a man who has been pushed to extremes simply because he dared to love once. Throughout the film, Wick crosses paths with new warriors, some who stand beside him, others who challenge him with deadly elegance. These encounters build tension, painting the world as a place where loyalty is fragile and choices carry life-or-death consequences. One of the most memorable action sequences imagined in this narrative shows him fighting through a towering building, floor by floor, surrounded by enemies wearing advanced armor. Each bullet he fires feels heavy with purpose, each move calculated like a dance choreographed by instinct. The camera would glide through hallways as Wick shoots, dodges, reloads, and uses every object around him as a weapon. Smoke fills the air with sparks, and the echo of gunfire becomes the rhythm of survival. The emotional weight increases when Wick learns about a hidden truth within the underworld's structure, something that explains why his fight has never ended. This revelation shakes him but also fuels a new side of his conflict. The desire to end the cycle not only for himself but for everyone trapped beneath the same ruthless system. He becomes a symbol of resistance, a lone figure challenging an empire that believes itself untouchable. The story uses this shift to deepen his purpose, showing him no longer fighting just to escape, but fighting to destroy the very chains that bind countless others, one of the most suspenseful sequences imagined. For this film takes place during a night chase through a city illuminated by rain and headlights. Wick rides through traffic, pursued by assassins on motorcycles, their weapons gleaming under neon lights. The sound of engines mixes with the sharp crack of gunfire as Wick maneuvers through narrow streets at impossible speeds. Cars crash, tires screech, and the city becomes a maze of deadly paths where every turn could be his last. This chase captures the essence of Wick's fighting style: fast, ruthless, and precise, as he refuses to slow down even for a second. As Wick gets closer to confronting the heart of the enemy, the atmosphere grows darker. A sense of destiny hangs over him like a cold shadow. The final location is imagined as a grand hall built centuries ago, filled with candles, ancient symbols, and silent guards who know they are standing against a force of nature. Before the battle begins, Wick stands in the center of the room, breathing deeply, preparing himself for a confrontation that feels like the culmination of every moment in his life. It's a quiet scene, but one packed with intensity, as the silence before the storm stretches like a thin wire on the verge of snapping. When the final confrontation erupts, it unfolds as a brutal, emotional, and beautifully choreographed clash. Every punch echoes like thunder, every move carries the weight of years of suffering and resilience. Wick's opponent fights with equal ferocity, creating a battle that feels less like a duel and more like two storms colliding. Their blows break furniture, shatter ancient pillars, and send dust clouds swirling through the air. The tension builds as Wick struggles but refuses to surrender. Blood drips, bones crack, and the room becomes a battlefield of shadows and light. One of the most powerful moments imagined in the climax is when Wick, exhausted and barely able to stand, rises again with a determination that shocks even his enemy. His eyes, filled with pain but unbroken resolve, deliver a message stronger than any words. He will not stop until he wins. This scene embodies why audiences love this character: his refusal to give in even when the world turns against him. The sound fades, the camera zooms in on his blood-covered face, and in that silence the audience feels his journey in their bones. When the final blow lands, the world around Wick seems to pause. Dust settles, flames flicker, and the weight of victory falls heavily on his shoulders. But the victory does not come without emotional cost. He stands alone in the aftermath, breathing heavily, staring at the destruction he has survived. The silence feels heavy, filled with memories of the past and uncertainty about the future. His wounds ache, but his spirit remains unbroken. He walks out of the hall slowly, each step echoing his transformation from hunted to unstoppable force. The closing moments of the film create a sense of bittersweet calm. Wick disappears into the shadows of the city, walking down an empty road, lit only by scattered streetlights. The world may not know what he has endured, but the viewers feel every second of his journey. His silhouette fades into the distance, symbolizing that his fight may be over for now. But the legend of John Wick continues to burn brighter than ever. This imagined script captures why John Wick remains iconic: the perfect blend of emotional depth, breathtaking action, moral conflict, and survival against impossible odds. It is a story of a man shaped by loss and strengthened by pain, a warrior fighting not just with bullets and blades but with the unbreakable force of his will. Even after the credits fade, the memory of his journey stays with the audience, reminding them that some battles are not fought for victory but for freedom, closure, and the last remaining pieces of humanity left within a broken soul.